You're often introduced as India's first Shaolin monk. I want to talk about that journey. You want to talk about those 5 months that you actually were there in?
I think certain barriers are there in a life or come in your life to teach you things, of course. But more than that, it teaches you what your capacity and capability is of to move ahead and do. So in China, there are 33 types of mushrooms. Now, I have major allergy to mushrooms. So they serve me mushroom soup, which I didn't know it was a mushroom because I didn't know the language except like, okay, ni hao, xie xie. Like that's it. And I had the mushroom soup and I got a bad allergy.
Do you think there's any resemblance to what they show and to what you live?
I would say 70 to 80% is what it's shown is true. I think one of the biggest key takeaways from the temple I have taken with me and which I still keep on using every day.
From the football fields of Europe to the silence of a Shaolin monastery, my guest today has lived through collapse and rebuilt himself into something rare. Hurssh Verma is the founder of Core Clubb, global wellness advisor, and the first Indian ambassador to the Shaolin Temple. Once an athlete, now a warrior monk and an entrepreneur, he brings ancient discipline into modern life and soon into cinema. This is the journey of a man who turned pain into philosophy and silence into strength. Welcome, Harsh, to Gimme 10. It's a podcast where we speak to like-minded people and we want to understand your journey. So, I don't want to jump into things. I'm extremely excited to have you here because, you're often introduced as India's first Shaolin monk, like a first Shaolin warrior monk. For someone hearing that for the first time, what does it actually mean? Like, what was it when you heard it for the first time? How was that feeling? Was it like a proud feeling? Was it a feeling which made you feel very complete, or was it like, no, this is not what I want. I want to more. I want to achieve more. I want to get to something better or bigger than this.
I actually never planned to become a Shaolin warrior monk.
Right.
Happened very organically to me.
Right.
And the intent I went to Shaolin Temple was because I had a knee surgery. I was a professional football player.
Oh, is it?
And I had a tumor in my leg and then I was bedridden for 5 months.
Wow.
And I had to go to China, to Shaolin Temple in the medicine division for my rehabilitation. And they healed me in 3 to 4 months. And after that, it's just like I just stayed back. And
You want to talk about that journey? You want to talk about those 5 months that you actually were there? Like, what happened? What was that journey all about? What changed you?
I think certain barriers are there in a life or come in your life to teach you things, of course. But more than that, it teaches you what your capacity and capability is of to move ahead and do.
Of course.
So I feel like, that 5 months, of course, I was very impatient. I was very excited at the same time. I was very overwhelmed because I'm in the Shaolin Temple in the middle of the mountains with all the monks over there. And I'm like the only Indian out there who's, getting the treatment. And I'm watching all the monks doing all these fancy moves and jumps and kicks and, weapons. But all my focus was that my main purpose is to heal my leg and nothing else. Because, for an athlete, for a sports player, coming from a background of being a professional football player, so I feel like a mental trauma is equally big as a physical trauma for an athlete. So I think that I was getting over that in that 5-month phase because I knew I'm at the right place. Through a lot of R&D and being patient, after 5 months I found something actually could really fix me and heal me. For which I had like a lot of battles that happened at my house with my family to go all the way to China because we have family in the UK and the US, Canada. China is something which is unheard of.
Any reason you chose China?
I actually was trying to find an alternate medicine therapy.
Okay.
So Dad had some business partners in Thailand. I knew some people down in south of India, but nothing was really clicking.
Right.
And someone told me that, if you really want to do some physical plus spiritual and, kind of meditative work, then go to the Shaolin Temple. So I did some research online. I was anyways bedridden. So,
You're saying it very happily though. It doesn't sound very... I was happy situation, but you're smiling about it. So I'm happy. I think at least your mind frame was at its best. Yeah, if not your knee. So
actually, no, I don't think I was in a good mind frame that time because I was just so frustrated just sitting on the bed because as a child, I've been very hyperactive, been an athlete, very hyperactive, always want to run, move, play competitions, play games. So I think for me, more it was, playing on my mind and me getting more curious and restless to find अरे मुझे कहाँ पर therapy मिल सकती है like that.
Right.
So I got to know Shaolin Temple, the medicine, and I was there. I took a 6 months visa and I stayed back for 5.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember how your first day was? Like, what was the first day like? How did you Can you just tell us about the feeling? Was it chilly? Did it give you chills? Did it give you anxiety? Did it give you pressure? Was it like breathtaking? What was it like? What was that feeling all about?
So I remember landing, and it was peak winters. It was in the month of October 2014.
And how old were you then?
I was 20.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I clearly remember my first evening, like my first day when I landed, it was after sunset, and it was like getting very, very cold, and I was driving up to the mountains, which is 2 hours away. So the province that you landed, it's called Henan province.
Okay.
And the city you land, it's called Zhengzhou city. So Zhengzhou is a pharmaceutical capital of China. So it's 2 hours away from there is Dunfeng, where the mountain range, the Shaolin mountain ranges are there. So I kind of felt like whether I'm going to the right place or not. So obviously there was some kind of, like jitters and kind of nervousness. Ki main sahi jagah pe ja raha hu ya nahi, ki will I be okay? Is this the right place? Like all those things happen. But one of the most crucial elements of my first day was that it's a pure vegetarian place. Shaolin Temple is pure vegetarian. So we have our own rice fields, we have our own vegetable fields. So in China, there are 33 types of mushrooms. Now, I have major allergy to mushrooms. So they served me mushroom soup, which I didn't know it was a mushroom because I didn't know the language except like, okay, ni hao, xie xie. Like that's it. Yeah. And I had the mushroom soup and I got a bad allergy. And
with your knee already troubling.
With my knee issue and my allergy, all those things happen and I'm like, wow. Like first day it is like this and then they give me an anti-allergy shot and next day obviously then, we started the therapy and my knee acupressure. But yeah, it was very nice because next day in the morning it was bright with the red, green, grey kind of palette. The monks were running, training. So it felt as if like, it was heaven on earth. I won't lie because it was a very different world that I had not been exposed to. And it's only been seen in films. And I felt very, very positive about the fact that this is the place and this is my calling, that I know this place is going to give me something which I'm looking for.
I don't want to bore you with a lot of Shaolin questions because I'm sure the world is aware about what you achieved there. But since you just mentioned about films, you think what they show in films about how these Shaolin temples are, and you actually lived it, right? You said you've been there for 5.5 years. You think there's any resemblance to what they show and to what you live? Or it's completely different in terms of culture, in terms of what they show, in terms of how you live there? Is it completely different or it's the same?
So I wouldn't want to lie, but I would say 70 to 80% is what is shown is true.
Okay.
And of course 20-30% you have to add it for the cinema, right? Yeah. So it's fabricated or it's choreographed. It's the masala, how you say. Yeah. So like you've seen many movies like Jet Li's first film Shaolin Temple, and then Gordon Liu, his first film called 36 Chambers of Shaolin, which is very famous, and then The Drunken Master, like all these Jackie Chan films, Bruce Lee films.
Yeah, legacy movies.
Movies. So of course it's very, very traditional. But since Shaolin has now become open to, sharing it with the Western world, with the Western philosophy, hence there are a lot of, so I personally feel you just cannot influence, you also get influence at the same time. So I think Shaolin is out there for the Western people and for them to learn to, be shared with. And of course, even we are learning and adapting their ways because we have to learn the way they communicate and they understand. So I think it's like a give and take.
Fair.
So, yeah.
Coming to the Hurssh you were before, you went to the Shaolin Temple, and the Hurssh you are today, or the Hurssh you were when you left China. What was that one key takeaway that you actually took from there and that you still implement in your day-to-day?
So majority of my time that I've spent in China has been in the temple because that's my second home, my family, Shaolin family. We've been to different places for doing Kung Fu shows and everything. But I think one of the biggest key takeaways from the temple I have taken with me and which I still keep on using every day is through awareness of breath comes awareness of self. I'm very much consciously connected about my breath and consciously aware about myself with every decision that I take, with everything that I listen to. So I think being consciously aware through the breathing exercise or breathing awareness, I think my 5 senses are always activated. There is no moment in my life or has been there, touchwood, so far where, I felt like I'm not in my control. I'm always in control. I'm very conscious as a person.
So, I was invited at this breathworking class done by someone. And it's so important, these breathworks, right? Like they actually give you an insight of your mental space at that point of time. And I still remember when I went for that class and I experienced the most emotional side of me. the most vulnerable side of me by just giving those breath works that they were actually asking us to do, right? I don't know if you are in a similar fashion or you teach in a similar fashion, but when I spent that 1 hour with them at that breath work, I probably had the best time of my life. I don't think I remember who were with me, like, because they were all random people, they're, enrolled people. But I remember when I opened my eyes after that breath work, I was crying, and there were three random strangers looking at me, and they're probably in a similar situation as me. They were probably not crying or howling as I was, but they were as emotional as I was. Probably some of them were extremely happy, some of them were extremely sad, or the emotions were taking over. So, are these breathworks also extremely important in your day to day life, where you think that it's actually giving you an idea or a sense of how your mind's actually functioning?
Yes, I personally feel that the most, breath is the most underrated and undervalued tool. I also feel that your breath is your weapon. Anything that you do, whether it's your reaction, your emotions, your decision making, your stamina, your just fitness in general, overall fitness. I mean, if you don't have breath, how will you live life?
Of course.
So I think breathing element is the most important thing, and you have to do conscious practice every day.
So, do you think that conscious practice gave you the clarity of being an entrepreneur today? Because I want to talk about your entrepreneur journey, right? That's the new you, where you're trying to also get out of just being the Shaolin monk and showcase yourself as an entrepreneur also, irrespective of the journey, irrespective of the relevance that both the industries could be connected. You are trying to teach the world similar values. So I want the world to understand you as an entrepreneur, not just as a Shaolin monk. So what is that transition? What is that time that you thought came to your mind?
So, after being in China for 5.5 years, I went to Los Angeles for 2 years. I was training and working with the Jackie Chan stunt team. And that was a very different exposure. And plus, I had family living there, so I took that opportunity up. Coming back to India, being the flag bearer for Shaolin and all those things, the Shaolin Center for India, Cultural Center of India, I feel as an entrepreneur, I have learned very, very different mediums of communication to people, to customers, to clients, students, however you want to phrase, like from the phrase to it. But I feel like I have learned not only to understand the way I want to present it to them, I have in fact learned how they want it to be presented, like So, how I make my platter does not matter to me anymore. First, I used to be like, no, Shaolin, it has to be very authentic. Just mere Shifu ne mujhe sikhaya, it has to be very like that. But now I've studied the psychographics, I've done my survey, I've had so many interactions with people. Like, no, understand what they need, understand their problems, understand how they want to be understood.
Correct.
And that's the narrative just change. And my entrepreneur side is like now just, slowly, and I'm still like at the teething stage, I would say. So just slowly, like creating that wellness hub, wellness community for all. And it's not just Shaolin that matters, it's just health and wellness and fitness overall that matters to
So you've created more like a members club, people who respect what you're doing there, and people who want to actually learn. It's not like a no nonsense club, right? It's like you come there, you learn, you take away something extremely important in your life, and is that about it? Is that what you're?
So it's a social wellness club where, of course, we have variety of activities and workshops, events that take place. Adding, of course, Shaolin elements, of course, there, because those are the most base offerings like martial arts, Tai Chi, archery, warrior mindset creation, and then yoga, breathwork, pranayam, animal flow, and then of course we've had a small boutique pickleball court just to get people, just relax and enjoy, because everybody don't want to do all of this. And then we have a nourishing cafe called The Usual, where we have acai bowl, smoothies, and home granola.
Finally, someone's doing acai.
Yeah,
amazing.
We've partnered with these two young girls, Khushi and Ragini, from Acai by the Bay, and it's our own IP called The Usual, because of the name, because people usually want to call, hey, I love my The Usual, But the whole concept of creating this ecosystem is for everybody from every aspects of life, of fitness, wellness, to coexist together under one roof.
Right.
And if you see, there are a lot of boutique concepts, and now wellness industry is transitioning into a very, very big scale, where hotels are, turning into wellness properties. For example, now Four Seasons, Asia Pacific are my customers, so I'm the wellness curator for all their wellness programs. So I travel to Vietnam, Bali, Maldives, Langkawi, Seychelles. So I understand that wellness is like a very, very big concept, and people are loving the fact that they're able to take care of the mental, physical, and spiritual side. Hence, Core Clubb is formed at a very like a base level where people from all areas are welcome, and it's a community more than just like membership. Okay, I take a class in an hour. We don't take care of that 1 hour of session that you do. We take care of also the 23 hours because the impact is very high. We take care of what your needs are. We take care of what you really want to work on, and it's like I said, we don't forget you after you leave. We make sure we're always with you. In anything that you need, we're always available. So
when you said that you take care of the remaining 23 hours also, as an entrepreneur, as a Shaolin warrior, it's easy to understand because you've mastered that already, right? But as an entrepreneur, since as you said that you're still in the teething phase, how difficult is it to understand someone not as a student but as a customer? That transition.
Yeah.
Because that completely changes the narrative, that completely changes the perspective, because now they're not just your students, they're also your customers, right? Because the money is also extremely important, right? The money has to flow in for the business to sustain. Now, I understand it's not easy, and you said it's bootstrapped in our previous conversation.
Right.
So the minute I know that it's a business which is bootstrapped, it becomes automatically extremely difficult to run also, and it requires a lot of courage. You can't have a conversation of you not having courage because you are a courageous guy. How has that transition been for you, where you have started looking at them not just as your students, but also as customers?
I think that's a very good question, because my whole narrative after forming Core Clubb has changed, and I look at everyone as customers because, like, obviously, apart from it being bootstrapped and self-funded, I feel, of course, customers are king. I feel like I've entered a hospitality industry.
Yeah.
It's like a hospitality industry because you're just continuously serving people, catering to their needs, pampering them, what they need, what they don't need, what is the improvements that we can make. So I am there every day, asking, talking to people, and I have my my partner who's a co-founder as well. She helps with everything. So we're constantly talking about like what the needs of the customer are, and it is very important to also not to compromise on what way you want to be positioned. So if someone's finding me, they can't afford something, they find us, to be too premium for them because we are a very boutique and a premium concept, then the point why we are premium and boutique is because we are catering and we are going an extra mile to give you something more than just a pickleball court, more than just a training center, more than just a cafe. We're giving you an ecosystem of
It's an experience that you're trying.
We're giving a very big wellness sanctuary kind of experience to people. Like I said, I've been a monk for so many years, and then obviously not a monk anymore.
Why do you say you're not a monk anymore?
I never really thought of it as a business. For me, it was like, okay, I have to follow the curriculum. Shaolin has sent me from China. Not many people really value traditional stuff much in Bombay because...
Coming back to an entrepreneurial question, do you think social media, that is going to be your go-to-market strategy to generate more business